Thank you for listening and welcome to the Life Podcast, a proud member of the Eventide Entertainment Podcast Network. I'm your host, Don Smith. Mike Shea gets to be guest co-host for the week. Brandon Barry comes in with a tender story. He's single, ladies. If you enjoy the show, like and follow the Life 1069 on Facebook and Don Smith Comedy on Twitter, or tune in live on Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM, or you can stream the show live at wwsu1069.org.
The brutal presence overwhelms me. The brutal presence overwhelms me.
All right, I forgot to clear my throat before we came on the air.
I got you, Don.
All right. Yeah. All right, I'm no longer going to say the day and the time because I realize I say it's Tuesday at 7 every time we do this show, and then it gets rebroadcast tomorrow, and it confuses people at noon on Wednesday, and they all go home at lunch.
Not Tuesday at 7.
Tuesday at 7?
Yes.
God, I got to go to class.
It is either Tuesday at 7 or Wednesday at noon or Friday whenever
Who the hell
we
knows?
put this episode out on the podcast. Thanks for listening. It's time for the Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Don Smith, sitting in as my guest co-host for the week. And I do say week because it's not just this episode.
That's true.
Although this is the only one we record.
But you're going to hear me 3 times this week.
Even more than that if you get obsessed. Because
That's true.
You can just download it and listen to Mike Shea's soothing voice over and over again.
Like
Mike Shea
salty
is
caramel.
in with us.
Hey, Don.
The pirate LARPer.
The pirate LARPer.
I have some questions about that later.
Everyone does.
First guest is in Mr. Brandon Barry.
Hey, how you doing, Don? I've been talking to you for the last 2 hours, so
But we still need to
We're on the
reacquaint.
radio.
We need to reacquaint ourselves because this is
Don't
radio.
let him peek behind the
Don.
curtain.
Right. Yeah, that's not the curtain. Yeah, so, Brandon, what's been happening with you? I know I haven't been called to reprise my role as homeless Jerry. And,
unfortunately.
I've been saddened all summer thinking about that.
Well, me too. You know, I've missed doing TBTV a little bit. I mean, you know,
it was a lot of fun.
It was
as much
for
as
what
a
it
fella
was.
can miss that kind of thing.
For what it was. I mean, I do miss like writing it and kind of going out on Saturday mornings when you're half not awake,
right.
You know, whatever. And I mean, but I think doing all these movies that both of us are involved with
William
stuff, and I'm actually editing a movie with Craig, the cinematographer from Black Mamba.
Oh, you're editing another one? Is that the?
That's Immaculate Possession.
Okay, that's the Jason Sherlow.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a very sweet movie. So there is. I filled that void with something.
Okay, well, yeah, you still have to do. Yeah, you fill the TBTV void.
Yeah, we'll have to do something together.
It just can't be the same though.
No, it's not. I mean, I don't have any creative freedom really when it comes to other people's movies.
Right. Well, yeah.
So I have been getting back into writing.
Good.
It's taken me like 5 months to get back into it, and I got to tell you about it. I'm sorry, I'm taking over this entire thing.
Well, you're the guest.
I'm just a guest
he's
host.
a guest
Oh,
co-host.
okay. Well,
so,
you
yeah.
can just come in whenever.
Not even guest host.
Whenever.
Guest co-host.
Oh, is this what is this thing over here?
So just if Don
Mike.
goes to the
That's
bathroom,
Mike
I do
Shea,
the weather.
the thing
That's- I'm Mike Shea.
are
That's
you-
a microphone.
Is this legal? Are you allowed to be broadcasting?
Sure. Yeah.
What is this?
Oh,
Facebook
is he
Live?
Facebook
I'm living
living
again. Yeah.
How do you not warn me about these things?
I love the reaction that you give me when you find
I
out.
talked about.
I wait.
Before
I
we
always
went on
wait.
the air.
I always wait until we're on the air.
Okay.
I always wait until we're
Well,
on
I
the air.
appreciate that. Scotty Mays
Scotty,
doesn't.
I can't make any promises.
He does. As soon as he comes in the studio, he's waving his Facebook Live around.
I wait until the mics are on, and I know that it's at least, for lack of a better word, safe.
Right. You know that anything I say about somebody now, I mean.
Exactly. Yeah. And so do all. Plus, you're assuming people are actually watching this and giving a
that's
damn.
true.
So,
Can I take over this for a second?
oh God, he's taking my phone.
Yep. Brandon Barry has. There you go. Yeah.
There's Don Smith. All right.
Well,
is he not
you
in
got
it?
to
It's
point
his
it
show.
around. He
Why
doesn't have
was-
any list.
Okay.
It doesn't have any viewers
What?
yet. Does it?
Nobody's.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Okay.
All right.
It's 7 o'clock on a Tuesday.
But no, Brandon.
Anyway,
you're
fellas.
the guest. Don't let us
All
interrupt.
right. Okay. All right. So I started working on this thing about a year ago. It started as a play about Jesus coming back. Now, I'm not a religious man. Jesus coming back in the future when all of his miracles are obsolete. And I thought it was a great idea, but I didn't know what to do with it. So I finally picked it up a week ago, like after this big, huge, hiatus, and I found out that what I want to do with it, it's Jesus coming back in the future, like Logan's Run type future, like what the 70s movies thought the year 2000 would be.
Right.
And he has to find his purpose, and his purpose is going back to his roots as a carpenter, making these birdhouses for these homeless birds.
Oh man!
Well, yeah, that's.
I'd
watch that.
I think the birds appreciate him more.
Yeah. So it's no longer a play. This is gonna. I don't know how I would have a bird on stage like that. It'd have to be a big costume person, I guess. But I also don't know how I'd do it in a movie. So.
Which would be nice and fun and campy.
We'll cast Don to be one of the birds, and he just comes walking out on stage.
Are you
flapping?
kidding? Look at the beard. Yeah. I'm going to be cast as a bird in the Jesus movie. Come on, man.
Of course you are. No, we're gonna go beardless Jesus in this one.
Yeah,
We're gonna go
okay,
beardless
okay.
Jesus.
So that's what I've been up to. I also I've a couple 5 months ago. I became single after 3 years of being in a relationship. So I
Congratulations.
Hey, I know, right? And so I downloaded these dating apps. Right? And I know you say woof. Do you
it's
use
another
them?
screenplay?
I swore off the dating apps and online dating months ago. It was a waste of time.
But months ago.
Yeah.
Now how long? Like a couple months? So it was pretty recent then.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I used them for the better part of a year, but I stopped using them probably about March.
Why? I want to know.
Because after a year of of messaging and right swiping and all that other crap, the zero responses that I got, except for the one girl with a kid who was just looking for someone to take her to lunch one day and drive her to get her rent paid was enough. I was like, you know what, I'm done.
That was your date?
That was my date. Was we went to dinner and she said, "Hey, I know this is rude, but could we run a quick errand while we're out?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, well sure, why not? I haven't been on a date in God knows how long." So, so we ended up going to the office so she can drop off her rent check. And I was like, "Oh, I see what this is."
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
But yeah, online dating is just it's such a scam to me.
Well, how's regular dating?
What regular? Why do you think I was? You think I was doing online dating because I could get a date in real life on my own?
All right. Well, so how long have you been single? I'm not. I know I'm interrogating.
No, you're good. We're just stalling time because Don's on the phone.
Yeah.
No, I've been single since 20 late. It was early 2016. Yeah, we broke up. Since 2016. So it's been that long. Yeah, 2 years.
Well, that's a.
Yeah, I mean,
significant amount of time.
it is, and I'm 29, and I'm just at a point where it's just like, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
I have other things I'm worried about, and the priority of which is getting out of my mother's basement. I've just devolved so hard. I started off so well after college. Yeah. I was on my own and working full time, and now since then it's you know what? I skipped a step. You're supposed to live in your mom's basement for a while, Mike. You can't just go straight to being independent. Come on.
Yeah. So
you guys did a fantastic job while I had to step away.
You are so welcome.
So this is what I did. A couple months ago, I downloaded Tinder and a couple other ones, right? And at first, I didn't take it seriously. I still don't, really.
Right.
And so what I did, I have this picture on my phone.
You haven't swiped right on Tinder just yet.
No, I have. Multiple times.
Oh, well, I mean on the app itself.
Nothing worked out. So what what happened? I have this. I'm not a photogenic guy, as you probably have figured out, and I don't have a lot of good pictures that don't look like I'm trying to take a good picture. And they just, you know what I mean? It doesn't work out.
You used a still from TBTV, didn't you?
I used a couple. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun.
No.
No. I didn't know for sure that's where you were going. I just thought that would be funny.
No, you're good. I don't know if you remember from the first episode, Scooter, Wingbat, and Toad. We had a bunch of me and Tyler we put ourselves in other album covers. So I have this picture of myself, Do you know the Nirvana album Nevermind?
Oh,
with
God.
the baby?
Oh, God.
So
Oh, that's awesome.
my face is superimposed over this baby, with his willy hanging out, right? And I didn't take it seriously at first, so I had that up there for like 4 hours. So when you first download Tinder, you're just swiping all night. I was doing it for
sure.
4 hours. It was horrible. Okay, maybe we're different.
No, I did. It's just,
Okay. Well, I did this. Oh, my dad's calling me. Sorry.
everybody's phone's ringing today.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Could you guys stall while I take this call? No.
Well, mine was from the GM of the club, so I kind of had
Oh,
to see
okay.
what.
That's
yeah.
understandable.
That's fine, I guess.
So, 4 hours later, after all this swiping, I matched with nobody, obviously, because I'm a baby with his willy hanging out.
How can that not help?
And I got reported, and I had to. I know. I had to start all over, and then
were you reported for like the
the
public
baby
nudity,
Willie.
or were you reported for like stealing the album cover? Was it
No,
a
see,
copyright thing?
See,
or-
here's the thing about Tinder. You can be reported for anything, and you can be taken off, and they don't even really review it. Yesterday I was reported. I can't log into my thing. I don't even care anymore because those apps they consume my life. Okay, I just swipe all day, and it's just horrible. And so, I got reported, and I looked it up. Like, why can't I log in? And it's got this code, like of why.
Right, that little
And
error code. Yeah.
And it said sometimes you can be reported and taken off Tinder just because you're ugly.
Wow.
Isn't that horrible?
That's awesome.
It's not happened to me yet, so there's hope.
Yeah.
You've not. Well, that's great. That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's hope.
But you
So you're saying you're not as ugly as Brandon?
That's
Is that
exactly what I'm saying. I
That's
now
good of you
have
to say, Mike.
confirmation
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
See, I'm just saying. I mean,
taking over Facebook Live.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah, but that's what's been going on with me. I tried not to. I guess this is a godsend now that I don't have to do that all day long.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what it was. It was an intervention
Yeah, that's
to
right.
keep you from your
right.
Tinder addiction.
That's right. Addiction. Addiction.
If I can't stop swiping.
Horrible.
thank God I'm too ugly for Tinder. Now I don't have to worry about getting back on there anymore.
Yep.
Oh man.
I was trying to make him feel better by saying that people cared enough about him that they wanted him to stop with the app. So I didn't want to focus on the ugly part.
Oh, I did.
Yeah. I was trying to make him feel better, Mike.
I don't care.
It's okay. He didn't hear that part.
All right. Okay. Oh, did you have something? You took an inhale. I felt like you were gonna say.
Well, I had to clear my
segue.
throat again.
Oh, okay.
You go ahead. You
You had
go
to
ahead.
breathe.
Okay, I wanna add-
You had to take in oxygen. So
Sorry, I'm just so wired. I guess it's the coffee. I want to know about this pirate life for me.
God.
The pirate's life for me. Okay, so. Okay, why? What do you do?
Why?
No. Okay,
Okay.
what do
so,
you do?
Do you like camping?
Sure.
Okay. So imagine you're camping. You just dress like a pirate, and you live like it was that era for a week.
On a ship, or
We go out to Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. There's this huge campground that last year when I went, it was about, I think it was like 1,100 campers were there. So 1,100 people across God knows how many hundreds of camps that were there. And now I will say that a couple people in my group actually took like flatbed trailers and built pirate ship shaped campers on top of them, like with beds inside.
I've
they could live
actually
in.
seen one of those. There's actually some back road that I used to take to get to one of the places I used to work. There's actually one sitting on the corner of the road where they have it decorated like a pirate ship.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I know out there by Foy's out there in Fairborn when they do the Halloween one of the houses out there, they have a big one they decorate and have like the haunted pirate lawn decoration going. But yeah, no, it's the most fun you can have camping, I think.
really?
We reserve this huge plot of square footage. That's our campsite. We have about 30 people with their tents set up in our camp. We have, those like big white awnings you can get for like outdoor weddings and family reunions and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. We have one of those set up, and we have like grills and stuff under there so that we can cook out while we're there. We're not that far from like an actual town, like a Walmart or something. We need supplies. It's a small, like little a general store there in the camp. You can go buy like a pack of bottled water, but it's ridiculously expensive.
Sure.
But
so it's kind of like a music festival, but no music and you're pirates.
Well, believe it or not, there actually is. Like, there's actually there's a section of the of the campground that's like a lot of shops.
Yeah.
Where you can go buy like clothing people have made, or
So it's like a Renaissance festival you stay the night at.
Yeah, it's a rent fair you stay at for a week or two.
That's cool.
And then there's events at night. Like, there are actually people who are musicians who have like the old pirate era musical instruments, and they'll play music. And there's just so much drinking. Oh, there's so much booze.
Yeah,
that's really what it's all.
It's really what it's all about. It's just that constant state of not sober that you're in for the period of a week.
Okay,
but
just, your goal is to get scurvy and get as drunk as possible.
More or less, yeah. And I mean, yeah, and then,
by scurvy you mean
lack of fruits.
Sure,
and
but yeah, no,
other ailments.
There's actually a guy. He's a set designer out in Hollywood, and he goes to this thing every year.
Yeah,
and he actually the plot of land he has reserved. He built like a multi-level. It looks like an old school, almost like a mansion. Like, it's got multiple floors and stuff, and that's where him and his camp all stay. And it's just like I said, he's a set designer out in Hollywood, so it's expertly made, and there's like murals and stuff. You walk by and you're like, is that somebody's actual house here on the campground? And no, they show up a few days beforehand and spend a few days just putting it all together, and then they live there for those 2 weeks and take it all down and travel back.
Did you say this was Ohio?
This is over in Pennsylvania.
Over
in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania.
Where?
Slippery Rock.
Slippery Rock. I don't know.
Of course, it's called Slippery Rock. It's just
right.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's a lot of fun because I love camping, and the guys I do this with are some of my best friends in the world. They're just a great group of guys. I've described before as like it's all the camaraderie and support that fraternities claim to have but don't actually have. Because like at one point when I was living down south, like my car got broken into and vandalized. Like they ripped the engine apart and tore parts out. Like, I couldn't move. I had to move it on.
And the band of pirates came.
They did. I literally was like, I was like, so this happened, and so when the guy's like, all right, hop in the truck, we hopped in his truck. 4 of them came with me, and we got the car moved out onto the side of the road so I could have it scrapped, because at that point it needed to be junked. And
wow.
There was a point where my roommates like abandoned me with the apartment. I had to pay the last month's electric bill before I moved out, and I didn't have the money, and they all like took up a collection and got me the money. They're just a great group of guys. Wow. They've been really awesome.
So I got a question about like the garb. Okay. Are you one that wears? Are you like a captain with the parrot, or are you one of the henchmen?
Oh, I'm not. We have a captain, a commodore, and an admiral. I am
okay.
The captain who was my captain originally, she's this great lady named Chelsea. She and her husband, who's like her husband like this hardcore Marine, and she's just very much the female version of him, so she can kick any of our asses like hands down. But she's very. I mean, she's a mother of 3. She's very much a mother to all of us. You know, the way she looks out for anyone, but if you're acting like an idiot, she'll tell you you're acting like an idiot.
I just want to clarify, you do have donkeys on the premises.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
We do. Sure.
Want to make sure, and she does kick them from time to time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well, yeah, if they're not pulling the cart. Because your ass has got to pull the cart, or they're not
absolutely.
Or they're not worth the money you paid.
Absolutely. Exactly. But yeah, so we have a captain, we have a commodore, which is the next step up from captain. Then we have an admiral who kind of runs our whole camp, because we do have like bylaws. Mostly the reason we do that is just because we don't want anyone to feel like they can't. It's more or less to make sure we can't get sued.
But they're more sort of general
guidelines.
Like
guidelines more than actual rules. And we all kind of have our roles to play. So I'm a musician and a comedian, and so I'm the crew. I'm the bard.
Oh, okay.
So my job is to entertain the crew whenever I'm around. Obviously, I'm not around as much anymore, but and we have people who like their job is like we have a guy we call him quote unquote the navigator. His job is just he has a map of the campground. He knows how to get to and from everywhere because it's a maze. It's a huge, especially at night when you're going out to other camps and partying and stuff like that. So his whole thing is
looting and pillaging.
Looting and pillaging. Oh, that happens.
Really?
That happens.
Like
not like
in a fun way.
Not like in a fun way. We have because the Penzik. It's called Penzik
as opposed to the very violent.
As opposed to the violent
yes.
guy.
Yeah, that's when the
like,
Vikings
I
show
mean,
up.
as
Exactly.
opposed to what happened to your car.
Exactly. It's not like that. So we do this thing called the game. We just call it the game. And so what it is like at our camp we have this
very
we have a
creative.
log that somebody actually carved to look like a dragon. It's this really nice piece of wooden artwork. And she kind of sits at the entrance to our camp and she's the guard. Now, there was a night where one of the other camps, we had thrown a party at our camp. And so we were all asleep until, 2 p.m. the next day because we were hammered. And we wake up and the dragon's gone with a ransom note. It's like, if you want your dragon back, it'll cost you either like a bottle of rum or like a case of beer. And then they get some ridiculous ones like a swimming pool full of kittens and things like that. Just trying to be outrageous because you can.
Yeah.
And so we then had to get a bottle of rum and take it to them and get our dragon back. There was another camp who had this huge wooden wheel that they would roll in front of their door at the end of the night. Somebody took their crew over and walked off with it. This is not you need 10 guys to lift this thing. So they took all their people over and lifted it and walked away from us, and they hired us to go get it back. And it probably would have been, but
Okay. Well, they were drunk.
whatever.
That's okay.
So we went and got it back, but we didn't just roll it back. We actually had our captain stand on top of it while me and the 10 dudes who are all built like me lifted it above our heads and carried it over while she's standing up there with her Captain Morgan pose, and we're singing the Smurfs theme song, going la 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 the whole time. Because we're idiots and we're drunk.
Exactly.
Look, we're camping out dressed like pirates. I mean,
Yeah.
go big or go home. So,
Anything goes at that point.
it is. Yeah. But it's honestly some of the most fun you could ever have.
As soon as I told Brandon about that, his eyes lit up.
Oh,
He's just been dying to find out.
Every
more.
time
I know.
you've mentioned this to other comics as well. Like I know you mentioned it to Travis and John, and the next day they're just like, so what's up with this pirate thing? And they're all out there right now. I'm missing it this year because my brother's getting married in September, and I had to miss it this year. But they're all out there right now, and I'm seeing pictures already. And I'm just kind of like, oh, I could be there right now.
So how many years you've been doing this?
Last year was the first year I actually went to the big camp out thing. I've known these guys for 5 years though.
Something?
Do what?
They're subsect.
There's throughout the whole country
Many pirate camps.
there are, yeah.
Pirates
But
Life for me.
because it actually the main focus is for it to be like medieval, and
Right.
then just at that time there were also pirates, so it's really more of a medieval reenactment. And then there's just 15 or 16 camps that are pirate themed, and so we're there to kind of you'll be like, okay, so over there is where you can see people from this country, and over there's those freaking pirates, and then we have our own.
So I
stuff that we
guess
do.
I never really thought about what era the pirates that we know of were around.
It's 16th through 18th century England and Ireland and
It's
that
like a
kind of
history podcast
Right,
today or
right.
radio show.
Well,
this
you
is.
can learn history at Penzic. They actually have activity tents, and some of them are you can go learn about the kinds of games they played, like quote, for lack of a better word, board games, or you can actually go take history lessons there and learn about the way the hierarchy works. Did you know, when you watch a medieval film or show, did you know there's actually is a logic to where the king and queen sit depending on who all's there?
No.
There actually is. I found this out, and I was like, that's the weirdest detail to have rules for, but it has rules, and that's kind of interesting. So
Does it have anything to do with how you set up a chessboard?
actually, yeah,
Yeah,
a little
exactly,
bit.
yeah. Strategery. That's the
Yeah. Strategery. Or Stratego, or one of those.
All
I don't
right.
know.
Oh, so
Have I talked about pirates enough?
I think
Well,
so.
now you
That's
know,
a good.
Brandon.
Huh?
Well, now you know.
Now I know.
Knowing
That
is
is-
half
that
the
is
battle.
a lot. There's lots to take
Arr,
in.
it is.
Oh, man.
And now,
What
now
do we
it's
got going
time.
on?
We've gone through all that. Now it's time for the comedy rundown.
Oh, thank
I'm
God.
Gonna hit, I'm gonna hit the pirate comedy rundown.
Arr.
Arr. Here's this week's comedy rundown, brought to you by the legendary Wiley's Comedy Club at 101 Pine Street, there in Dayton's historic Oregon district. And that's enough of that. Call 224-JOKE or go to wileyscomedy.com for all the best in Dayton comedy. Wednesday, August 1st, Comedy Fight Club at Ohio Chiefs at 1124 Leo Street in Dayton. Sign-ups for that if you want some stage time to be abused as a comic on stage and learn how to deal with such abuse. Sign-ups
nice
for
way of
that are
putting
at 7:30 p.m. Thursday, August 2nd, open mic at Mugshots at 2341 South Smithville Road. Sign-ups are at 7:30, and that shows at 8 o'clock. Also on Thursday, open mic at the Hookah Bazaar at 958 Patterson Road in Dayton. That show starts at 10 p.m. Sign-ups are at 9:30. Friday and Saturday, August 3rd and 4th, Mike Paramore is going to be at Wiley's Comedy Club at 101 Pine Street in the Oregon District. And also Friday and Saturday, the 3rd and 4th, Michael Blackson is going to be at Dayton Funny Bone at 88 Plum Street at the Green. And Sunday, August 5th, Wiley's Sunday Comics is back at Wiley's Comedy Club at 101 Pine Street. You can go and see a rare appearance of yours truly up on stage.
About time.
That is it. As always, check out Wiley'sComedy.com, DaytonFunnyBone.com for details and tickets to upcoming shows. Don't forget to show some love on Monday nights to shows at Hannah's at 121 North Ludlow Street in Dayton, and the open mic at Ollie's at 518 Miamisburg Centerville Road.
Questions.
Go right ahead.
Multiple. Those are all comedy clubs.
No.
Right? No.
Most of them are bars. The only comedy clubs are Wiley's and Funny Bone.
That's what I thought. I'd never heard
or
of
Wiley's in that
What's
other
Ollie's? Did you say you
Ollie's?
worked at Ollie's?
That's a bar. He used to run.
I used to run the open mic at Ollie's.
Okay. See, I thought you were talking about that Odd Lots kind of supermarket.
Everyone, like they get so many calls every week of like, it's like, yeah, do you
I know what
guys
you're talking about.
Do you guys still have like the packs, the 32 packs of bottled water, sir? That's the other Ollie's.
You did get those,
but they're actually like right up the road from each other. So if you Google like Ollie's Centerville, you're gonna get either one.
Okay,
but yeah, it's Ollie's is just a bar.
Okay, I got you.
That'd be good to have a grocery store open mic. That would be fun.
Oh, you know what? People have when I've told people about it, they'd be like, "Well, you could do it at the other Ollie's. Just set up a couple pallets and."
Yeah, there you go. That'd be.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Why not? They do it at the street in the street at the Oregon District,
right?
So why not do it in a grocery store? All right, that's all for this half hour. We're going to take a little break. I got a little Potter's Field queued up because go figure. We're going to be back in just a few minutes.
Nothing can hold me down. over Jimmy Kimmel. Step aside, Conan O'Brien. Back off, Stephen Colbert. It's my turn. I'm Mike Shea, and every Tuesday on my show, Mike Talks Funny, I sit down and talk with comedians, actors, film fans, podcasters, anybody willing to get down, get deep, and get dirty.
I don't remember the first time I had sex. That was horrible. I didn't even finish the first time I had sex.
I've tasted what most comics want, and now I have to go back and eat the leftovers.
You're so brave for wearing that shade of lipstick on stage. Oh my God.
Think of Last Comic Standing, and Mystery Science Theater 3000 had a baby, and that's the show.
My online doppelganger is also a larger black man. He is Adrian Miller. All the top results are he's a professor.
Interviews with great people, not to mention all kinds of awesome new music every show.
Hey, this is Don Smith.
This is Scotty Mays.
Hey, this is Kevin Goatee with Comics Watching Comics.
Brought to you by Eventide Entertainment.
Lane, I've been going to this high school for 7.5 years. I'm no dummy.
All right, we're back on the live radio show. I'm your host, Don Smith, sitting in with my guest co-host, Mike Shea.
Haven't left yet.
Hasn't run out yet. And too ugly for Tinder, Brandon Berry.
That just needs to be. That just needs to be like your Twitter handle.
That's the name of my show now.
I'm glad to give you that name. I do want to address something that we talked during the break. I did pay for Tinder,
which makes
the
it
premium Tinder,
yeah.
and they still would not let me use it.
Well, that's why. If it was just the regular Tinder, that's for the ugly people.
Yeah,
the premium Tinder, you better be a
look
hottie, yeah, or you're out.
What's the perk of paying for Tinder?
Because you can see who likes you, then you can choose, and then you have multiple. I don't want to get into it.
Okay.
So basically, you can see who's already liked you. So it's basically a way for you to lower your standards and up your chances.
That's right.
Because they already looked at mine.
That just feels desperate.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why you pay for it.
I mean,
that's why you pay, and you don't pay for it if you're not desperate.
That's true. Oh man.
Yeah. So that's my advice. Don't pay for it. Because you're just going to get kicked off anyway.
Never
pay for it. Eventually, you'll get it for free somewhere.
Yeah. If you pay for it, there's a good chance.
Yeah.
If you pay for it, there's a good chance you're going to be itching in the future.
Yes,
so.
yes. You sometimes get more than you pay for.
That's true.
Sure. I've heard.
So they say. I don't actually know, but
if I'd say on Pirate Weekends, you probably don't have to pay for it.
You just get it.
Well,
for Tinder, we're still talking about Tinder. Yeah.
They always say if you can't get laid at Penzic, you're doing something wrong. Well, apparently I did something wrong. So. I don't know. I thought
you're the bard. They don't want to interrupt.
Exactly.
They don't want to interrupt your entertaining.
Exactly.
So, do we got any news stories today?
We have got some news stories.
Oh, yes.
Boy, have I got some news stories.
I need some Don Smith news stories because the regular news stories are just ticking me off.
Well, yeah. That's
I had to
all
check
they
myself
do.
there for a
well,
second.
this one isn't too far from a regular news story. A man serving a life sentence without parole after being convicted of 2 murders is running for U.S. Senate seat. Leonard Richards, 75 years old, was convicted of killing his half-sister, Mae Wilson. I don't know what he did with the other half. In 1982, and of shooting dead his lawyer, Robert Stratton, in 1987. Apparently, he couldn't get him off the murder charge the first time. He is serving a life term in Stillwater Prison in Minnesota, where the law allows felons to run for federal office, but bars them from vying for state-level office. Because that makes perfect sense. Get them out of their state.
Mm-hmm.
The sister of Mr. Stratton, apparently the other one,
the other half.
Right. So the other half told the Star Tribune newspaper that the Minnesota Secretary of State's office could not keep Richards off the ballot. She wants voters to be informed of Richards' history and intends to ask politicians to change the requirement, stating that, quote, even one vote for this murderer is too many. So what do we think of that? You're allowed to run. He's serving a life sentence in prison.
Yeah.
And he's going to run for U.S. Senate. How he's going to serve U.S. Senate from prison, I guess the rest of them are fairly close anyway.
Well, I mean, it's not like the ones who are actually there are doing a whole lot. So,
right,
I mean,
yeah. You seem confused.
A little. I guess he's got to like.
Some of the stories on this show will do that to you.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what I thought when I first read this. It's like, first of all, why? Second, what's the point?
Now, can he get a phone call every day?
Yeah, just one phone call from
one
the Senate.
phone call. Can he phone in?
He just votes absentee every time.
Well,
he never shows up for a vote.
Well, how is that? Why is it just because they didn't make a law that can't happen? That this person is allowed to do it?
I believe they have. What does it say?
Has anybody done it in the past?
Look, unless he's Tim Robbins or Morgan Freeman.
It says the law allows felons to run for federal office
because they don't have anything.
Right.
But they didn't outright say felons can run for Senate.
Right. They didn't say, "Hey guys, have we got a deal for you?" See, my guess is the guy's just trying to get a pardon. That's really, he gets in there, gets to know a few guys, even though they just have to come and visit.
I don't think I'm gonna vote for him this time around.
Okay, well, he's in Minnesota, so I don't think we can vote for him anyway. But I don't know if I would or not.
Yeah, maybe next time.
I'd have to see his platform. I'd have to see, is he running Republican, Democrat? Is he an independent?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see which way he swings.
Depend on this one.
Yeah. It all depends on which side of the aisle, and which side of the lunchroom, or the yard. Which side of the yard he tends to hang out on. I guess.
Here's my question. This is probably the first time in history that this has happened, right?
Oh, no, there have been several convicted felons in the Senate over, there are probably several convicted felons in Senate right now.
Okay.
Sure.
None of them are currently in prison.
Okay.
Many of them are under indictment. Many of them are, have been in prison. I don't think any of them currently are.
Okay, well, never mind.
Yeah, I really couldn't see that this would be the first time.
So they're probably not going to change the law.
Right.
Just because it's one case.
Well, yeah, if they change the law and say you can't be a U.S. Senator if you've had any convictions, then we're not going to have anybody in those seats. I mean, it's going to be just pandemonium. There'll be two senators left, and they're both the guys from Rhode Island that have never done anything.
They just need the asses in the seats. That's all they need.
There you go with donkeys again.
Be a hell of a midterm election.
Democrats. There you go.
Right.
There you go. Right. You guys got to remember we're on the radio. There are only certain those kind of animals we can talk about.
Well, I heard it mentioned earlier. That's why I thought it was okay.
Right. Well, that's why I had to mention that it was also a donkey pulling a cart that he was talking about.
Look, I can't keep track anymore.
I don't want to be screamed at.
Of donkeys and elephants. And,
I can't keep track anymore.
All right, what else we got going on?
What else we got? A superintendent in New Jersey accused of publicly defecating on the local high school's track and football field has resigned from his job.
That was it?
Thomas Tremaglini, 42, resigned as superintendent of the Kenilworth School District on Thursday night. An email to staffers said he was resigning due to, quote, events unrelated to his service for Kenilworth. The email continued, It has become clear that Dr. Tremaglini and the Kenilworth Board of Education that his continued service as superintendent of the schools has become too much of a distraction to the main mission of the district, which is apparently not pooping on the football field. Tremaglini was arrested in May and accused of defecating on the Holmdel High School track and football field on a daily basis. Not just a one-time thing. Every day he would drive to the rival school and fertilize their football field. That is fantastic.
Look, I'm sure that grass has never been softer or greener in all their life, in all their time there.
Grass is always greener on the other side.
It's AstroTurf.
Oh, man. Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, a daily basis. That is wonderful right there. I can see
dedication.
I can see getting drunk one time doing it. This is a sober gentleman that is said, hey, I know I'm superintendent and I'm supposed to be a respectable individual,
During the
but
school
to
day?
heck with those guys, I'm pooping on their field.
But see, my thing is,
Every
like,
day.
does he live right by the school? Because if I feel like I got to poop, like, I need to be on the toilet within the next couple of minutes, not like, I got time for a drive. Let me hold this in while I'm driving however long to get to the next school. Almost there.
Then the only thing I have to say is you, my friend, live on the edge.
I do.
If you wait till there's only a few minutes left.
I do.
Yeah.
How long?
That's
I got to
how-
make sure it's actually a poop and not just a fart.
Right.
You might have a sphincter
This
problem.
is good radio.
Could be.
Right
This
here.
is quality radio.
Let's
Right?
move-
Karen Jaffe is loving this show right now.
Exactly. Moving on. A zoo in Cairo is allegedly showing its true stripes by passing off painted donkeys as zebras.
Back on donkeys!
See, back on the striped asses. Mahmoud Saran recently visited the International Garden, a municipal park in Cairo, and immediately became suspicious of the animals in the zebra exhibit. For starters, their ears were bigger than and their snouts were lighter than those of the typical zebra. Although the zoo's director, Mohammed Sultan, insisted his zebras were 100% legit to local radio station Nagoum FM, a local vet told the Cairo-based extranews.tv that a zebra snout should be black and the stripes should be more consistent and parallel. CBS News also notes that zebras and donkeys, despite bearing a resemblance to horses, are different species.
Duh.
So, I read that story earlier, and you failed to mention that they actually interviewed those donkeys.
Oh, did they? They interviewed the donkeys themselves.
Yeah. See, I thought you were going to build off that, and I really have nothing else.
What was the political platform of the donkeys? Like, do they have a shot of running against our murderer from Missouri?
Well, not there because they're from Cairo. They're Cairo donkeys.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
they're Egyptian donkeys.
Oh man,
which is weird because they pull a cart walking like this.
My next question is in
Can't
some
see
of the
names
names
on the radio, but it was funny.
Yeah,
Muhammad Sultan was the guy's
yes,
name.
Muhammad Sultan.
Man.
And what was the other gentleman?
What was the name of the radio station?
Nagoum.
Nagoum FM.
Nogoum. Nogoum.
Nogoum FM.
Or it could be No Goum.
No Goum.
No Goum.
No gum.
We're idiots.
Hey,
we
speaking of Cairo, remember that movie Brain Dead? Maybe Dead Alive? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson, yeah. Wasn't that first part where they first discovered that monkey in Cairo? Not that this has anything to do with donkeys and zebras,
but it's still it's a devil rat monkey.
Yeah, that's like
the guy's mother. Yes,
such a good movie. I just
you said
it's fantastic.
You said Brain Dead in Cairo. I was thinking about Matthew McConaughey in Sahara. So.
Yeah, Brain Dead.
Good movie.
Matthew McConaughey are pretty close. Have you ever seen Dead Alive?
I have seen Dead Alive.
Peter Jackson's awesome. Early that's fantastic.
Yeah. It's no Lord of the Rings, though.
That baby scene when he's pushing him through the
hyperactive. Swimming instructor, lifeguard, and adventurer Yane Petkov.
Awesome.
Bulgaria's answer to Houdini and Michael Phelps combined. Reclaimed on Tuesday the Guinness World Record for swimming along with his hands and feet tied while fully wrapped inside a sack.
What was he using?
What
was he using?
I guess just his head or his
swimming
tongue.
like a
Maybe
dolphin, I guess?
I guess so.
Whole...
Petkov, 64 years old, swam 3,380 meters in Macedonia's Lake Ohrid, beating the record of Indian fisherman Gopal Karvi. Not Dana, no relation to Dana Carvey, who in 2013 swam 3,071 meters in the Indian Ocean, though not in a sack. Well, it shouldn't count then. If your record is for swimming with your hands and feet tied together in a sack, you cannot be beaten by somebody swimming that's outside of a sack.
Yeah, otherwise
it doesn't work that way.
That's the point. Otherwise,
that's a whole other record because there's no sack.
Have you swam with your clothes on before?
Yeah, it kind of weighs you down. It's hard to do. Yeah.
And without having your extremities to move you along.
You would just sink.
I just love the idea of combining Michael Phelps and Houdini. I want to watch that. That's a buddy travel movie I want to watch.
Yeah, the Bulgarian swimmer already had one entry in the Guinness Book of Records in 2013 with 2,030 meters, but he only held it for 3 months until he was overtaken by Carvey, which again, not in the sack, doesn't count. It only counts if you get it in the sack.
Yeah.
That's one of my dating rules.
Before his latest attempt, Petkov said he planned to swim 3.5 kilometers, and Guinness observers were present for the swim, organized by the Red Cross because they were going to be needed if it didn't work out, and the water sports clubs of Ohrid and Petrick. So why would you decide to go swimming with your hands and feet? I don't think the first time, he decided. That was a mafia hit.
Right.
That was the first time.
He just happened to be very good at doing it.
That was the Bulgarian mob that was trying to take him out, and he survived it. That was his 2,000 meter.
They didn't
record.
give him a pair of concrete shoes. That was the problem.
Yeah, they just tied him up and threw him in a sack.
Exactly.
And said, "This'll do."
They skipped the step because they were being cheap and they were being lazy.
Sometimes thriftiness does not get the job done.
Exactly.
That's the lesson from that story.
Exactly.
Right there.
If Al Capone had been that lazy, they wouldn't have had to wait for tax fraud to catch him.
Exactly. Somebody would have
syphilis.
come up and said, "He threw me in the river in a sack. I swam away."
Who was it? It was that guy. The guy that...
Yeah. Yep. I am Michael Phelps Houdini. I swam away from that.
This fall on ABC.
Michael Phelps Houdini.
Rob Schneider is.
Oh, that's South Park reference. That's awesome.
It's a classic South Park reference, by the way.
Yeah, that's fun. I thought of that the first thing. It's like, yep, this guy, either he got in trouble with the mob or his dad really didn't like him when he was a teenager. Like, we're gonna throw this one out. We're just chucked him into the lake. Want to go fishing this weekend, boy? Yep. Sometimes your dad teaches you how to swim, and it's hard to get out of the sack. Time for one more news story, and then we're going to promote whatever we have to promote, which is my show. Pretty much. I don't think
I got some things.
You got some things? Okay, good. Well, you have some things.
I got
usually.
some stuff.
You got some stuff. You got some stuff. You got some things. I got some items. We're good to go.
We need some junk.
I don't want to end it, though, because it's not as good as probably what you guys are promoting.
Okay, we'll save you for last then.
Okay.
Braving Europe's heat wave, more than 150 Santas from around the world donned their heavy suits and full beards at the annual conference in Denmark. As the 61st World Santa Claus Congress kicked off in Copenhagen, many of the delegates from countries as far away as Japan and the United States, I don't think you can get much further apart, took a paddle in the sea to the amusement of local bathers. The 3-day event will see the Santas visit the Little Mermaid statue during a parade and go head-to-head in the Santa Obstacle Course World Championships. Normally us Santas work alone, said Santa Ian Tom, 67, of Scotland, who is attending his 6th Congress this year. This is like a big family, but a family you get on with. For Santa Douglas, 60, from Washington, D.C., attending his 12th convention, it is the international feel of the event that keeps luring him back.
I love how they're using Santa as a prefix.
It's like Mr. Santa, yes. Santa Ian Tom.
It's a rank. That's their official rank.
Yep. I rank double Santa. I outrank you. Yes, the Santas get together. I didn't know that they had an annual conference in Denmark, because where else would it be?
I feel like you should be there, Don.
No, well, I'm not a Santa.
You could be, though.
I know I'm
not with
fat
that
and
attitude.
jolly, and I appreciate you pointing that out.
Jolly, fat, you know.
Yeah, I'm not really jolly. Only on here. I laugh more here than I do in the rest of my days.
That's true.
I assume you've never been a mall Santa, but have you dressed up as a Santa?
I have not.
Santa Don Smith?
I have not. There is no Santa Don Smith.
That's good. Well, you got a question?
No, I've done it.
You
have?
have?
I've done it. I did.
Really?
First few years of college, I did it to make extra money.
Wow.
I did it for our homeowner association where we used to live with my parents. Mm-hmm. And they were doing like a thing for all the kids in the neighborhood. So I dressed up for that. And then I just kept the suit and would do it for money, like in Columbia, South Carolina, Christmas time.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
interesting. I've never met. I've never met a Santa before.
Oh.
Yeah, we're getting
I'm
some
sorry.
strange looks from
Actually,
from Dan
I
out
took
there.
when I was 4 years old. I pooped on a Santa's lap.
That was Mike.
That was me. Crap, I'm old.
How are you doing? Are you okay?
A little traumatized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's why I could never be a mall Santa, because I don't like kids and I don't want them near me.
That's kind of what it goes back to.
Yeah. All right.
And I would think if I was ever to be a mall Santa, I would like kids much less.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Just being in the mall when someone else is Santa and seeing those kids, I'm just like, oh, thank God that's not me.
But I would
anymore.
love to compete in the Santa Obstacle Course World Championship.
Oh, I'm down.
That would be
let's do this.
fantastic. We need
Let's train for next year, Don.
It needs to be like that. What was the Big Balls show? What was that show?
What?
Wipeout.
Wipeout.
Yeah.
It needs to be like that.
Well, now
we
they
need
got
Santa Claus doing Wipeout.
Now you
That's
got
what
American
we need.
Ninja Warrior, which is kind of the same thing.
There you go.
So just dress up like Santa and train for American Ninja Warrior.
American Santa Ninja
Yes.
Warrior.
We got a year, Don. We got a year, Don.
We're there.
We're there.
All right. Well, well, I know as far as things to promote, get out to Wiley's this weekend for Mike Paramore. Very, very funny.
Oh,
young
yeah.
man. He's been on this show a couple times. Great guy. Go out and see him.
Mike's funny. Mike's very funny.
And it's not just the
It's not just the name, yeah.
And listen to this show you're listening to. That's the only other thing I got to promote, other than Wiley's Sunday Comics, which I will be part of this Sunday for the first time in a little while.
I might actually go.
Oh well, I appreciate your
I'll
vote
try.
of confidence.
I will try. It's hard, but I will try.
It is hard. I'll
It
try
is.
to be there too. Mike, what do you have to promote? See, I told you we're saving you for last,
Yeah.
Brandon.
See, so
whatever.
As always, check out my podcast, Mike Talks Funny, Tuesdays on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all that stuff. Wednesdays, Track Record with me and Robert Yetter. And if you're really bored and want to listen to me talk on my drive home, Mike's Drive Time Thoughts is also available on
That's a good
iTunes.
title.
It's 15 minutes of me just talking about whatever's ticking me off that day while I drive home.
That sounds delightful.
It's awesome. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
All right, Brandon,
And
what's going on?
I'm promoting for someone else. Check out the trailer for Immaculate Possession on YouTube from Inner Demon Studios. Me, like I said earlier, me and Craig, Brian Hall are editing this movie, and it should be out around Christmas time. So,
I'm going to have to try to get Jason Sherlow in here sometime.
He's a great guy.
Him and Aaron. I need to get those two in.
Yep.
Haven't been able to work that out yet.
Well, make it happen.
I'll make it happen.
Okay.
If I have to kidnap him,
All right. Yeah.
we'll get him in here one way or another.
Do it.
All right.
All right. Get on.
Careful joking about that, Don. You might get fired in 9 years.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Anything else? Is that
No,
all you got? All right.
that is it right now.
All right. And of course, Black Mamba. Hopefully, we get to see that
That's right.
before too long.
Yep, I'm excited for people to see that too.
Do you guys have a release date for that yet? Or?
No, we don't. We don't have a date yet. We did do a premiere you didn't go to.
Yeah, I know. Love the trailer. Love the trailer.
Then you'll love the movie.
It's a great movie. Yeah. It really is. It's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And this is now like 3 or 4 people who have worked on it that I've met. I met Lex Zorn and met the director. So
you did?
Yeah, briefly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right, well, we're going to take a little break. We're going to kick Brandon out here. He's
right.
too
Whatever.
ugly for Tinder. He's too ugly for the radio. So had to throw it out there
All
one
right.
more time.
Thanks, Don.
We'll be back here shortly with who's coming in. Dan Seabury is coming in to see us for the first time in a while. So stick around. We will be right back.
Thanks for listening to the Life Radio Show podcast. Check us out on Eventide Entertainment Podcast Network or wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember, if you want to listen live, we're on Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. on WWSU 106.9 FM with a repeat broadcast on Wednesdays from noon to 2, or you can always stream the show live at WWSU1069.org. If you have suggestions or comments, feel free to email the life1069@gmail.com.
Well, against me. A brutal presence.
So imagine you're camping. You just dress like a pirate,